Evolution or intelligent design? The word God, the word religion are stumbling blocks for people, and we're going to look at these 5 systems after we go through what the good book says. But on your screen, have a good look at these. We'll pick them up after. So what had to happen first? Well, God said in the beginning, let there be light, and there was light. And you will note here now that he was the light all the way up to day 4 before he made the sun, moon and stars to measure the days, to measure the months, to measure the seasons and to measure the years and to measure the 24-hour day cycle. Now in this series, what had to happen first? You'll notice now on day 2, Yahweh is preparing everything that is needed to sustain life. Firstly, notice the earth completely encapsulated in water, and as you see the white ring representing the sky, firmament or air, etc., he's now divided the waters from above the waters to the waters below the waters, and that he has made the heavens. Notice there's still a blue ring around the earth. This is the waters to be contained behind set boundaries to make the oceans and the seas. There's also still a blue ring around the outer atmosphere of the earth. Can you see that? This shows that the earth was still encapsulated in a gigantic water canopy. Obviously, this limited the aging process of living organisms and flesh because they were not bombarded by the solar radiation. All the patriarchs lived up to 900 years pre-flood. And also, if you want to know why the good book reports about stars such as Pleiades long before we knew they existed, long before Galileo invented the telescope, here's the reason why. It is reported in the Bible because you could see everything through this water canopy, which magnified everything greatly. Note, when you go skin diving underwater and you look at a fish and you think it's about 30 centimeters long, when in fact when you pull it out of the water it's only about 5 or 6 centimeters because the water has magnified its size. Before God made the firmament, that's what you would see. You'd be looking straight out into the blue because there would not be any clouds. He divided the water from the water. So you'd be looking out there through a canopy of water. That's why the whole earth was one gigantic hothouse. The North and the South Pole did not have ice. That's why tropical ferns, tropical fish, tropical birds are all found in the North and the South Pole region. Well, as you can see, the whole earth was encapsulated in water, and then he divided that water into 2 parts. He divided the water from above to the water below, and in between that's where he made the firmament. And then it says that he contained the waters, and behind the boundaries that he had set, he called them seas, and then dry earth appeared. So we're looking at what took place next. The oceans, then the rivers and the creeks, and dry earth appeared. Earth's atmosphere, air. In the Bible it's referred to as the firmament. It's a layer of gases surrounding the earth and held by the earth's gravity. It contains approximately 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen and 1% argon and carbon dioxide, with traces of other gases and water vapor. Now the atmosphere protects life on the earth by absorbing the ultraviolet solar radiation and reduces the temperature extremes between the day and the night. The atmosphere, the water, the land, the trees, everything had to be set into place. Otherwise, nothing could live. This is what had to happen. When you ask the question, what had to be? This is what had to be before life existed. Now there's another component that is absolutely necessary, and that is wind or air currents. As anybody knows, if you've got a hothouse, you have to have air circulating, otherwise the plants will die. And here you're looking at the wind assisting the trees in the transpiration. Without transpiration, they would not be able to lift the moisture, the water, up from the roots of the ground, because in some cases big trees would lose tons and tons of water through evaporation and transpiration. Water hardness usually only measures the total concentrations of calcium and magnesium metal ions. Others, such as iron, aluminium and manganese, may also be present. Deionized water, or pure collected rainwater, is water that is void of minerals, such as sodium, calcium, iron, copper, and anions such as chloride and bromide. Deionized water. This condition is amplified when water is running over a creek bed, which is full of minerals in the substrate. Pure rainwater lacks minerals and ions of calcium, which are normally found in drinking water. Drinking water must have calcium, magnesium and sodium minerals for our biological functions, such as our nervous system, homeostasis, and our digestive systems, and for the process in developing strong bones and teeth. A percentage of our daily consumption of these minerals and ions come from our drinking water. The lack of naturally occurring minerals in distilled or filtered water through reverse osmosis filters causes the body to become stressed, weakening the digestive and endocrine systems. Reverse osmosis products can be used for the production of deionized water. Back in July 2002, Singapore announced that a process named New Water would be a significant part of its future water plans. It involves using reverse osmosis to treat domestic wastewater before discharging the new water back into the town reservoirs. Also, an ultraviolet lamp is used for disinfection of any microbes that may escape filtering by the reverse osmosis membranes. In other words, any nitrifying bacteria is also destroyed by ultraviolet. But guess what? Nitrifying bacteria is required to oxidize the toxic nitrites to a more compatible nitrate. Nitrifying bacteria are widespread in the soil and water, and without the right level of it in our intestinal tract, we can get bowel cancer. Nitrification is the oxidation of an ammonia compound in nitrate, especially by the action of the nitrifying bacteria called Nitrosomas. The nitrites will then be oxidized to nitrates by the bacteria Nitrobacter, and this is very necessary in this water that we are looking going down this creek. Now I can put my hand in there and I can drink that water and it tastes beautiful. But you've got to remember that if we're out here in the bush where there's all sorts of animals droppings and bird droppings and fish and things that have died in it, but why is it pure? Why does it taste so lovely? Because of the nitrifying bacteria. It has made all of the detritus matter inert, and it's no longer toxic to us. As a matter of fact, you can tell if water is pure. If there's healthy fish swimming around in it, then you know that that water is fit for human consumption. In this particular waterway, there are the Melanitania species, the Magurna, the gudgeon family fish. They would not live in here if that water was not pure. One other thing, they need to have a variation in temperature to procreate, so there has to be the winter and the summer, and they have to have infusoria to feed the newly hatched fry. And if these conditions are not met, then these fish could not exist. So what must happen? This is what must happen, what you're looking at, as you see it, as part of the ecosystem before those fish could exist.
How does one equate this with natural selection or with evolution? Look at the veins and the ribs and the intricate detail in this leaf. I'll tell you what it's all about. It's about photosynthesis. And that's the conversion of light energy into chemical energy by living organisms. The raw materials are carbon dioxide and water. The energy source is the sunlight. And the end products are oxygen and energy-rich carbohydrates. For example, sucrose, glucose and starch.
This process is arguably the most important biochemical pathway since nearly all life depends on it. It is a complex process occurring in higher plants, phytoplankton, algae, as well as bacteria. And all plant life needs this to happen, and so do we. On day 3, Yahweh God made the oceans go back behind their boundaries. Then he made the ground, the earth, and of course the rivers and the creeks, and then of course the trees and the fruit and the grasses, making a proper habitat ready for the introduction of all of the insect, animal and bird life.